Welcome to The Real Story, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the career of Academy Award-winning actor Jon Voight died suddenly this morning. I know, it's very sad. Lab results are not available yet, but most experts believe that his career's death was caused by a column he wrote last week in which he argued that Barack Obama and the Democrats are using Marxist propaganda to usher in a new socialist era. Just a note here, I believe that's the first time I ever agreed with anyone in Hollywood. But I digress. Voight's career quickly went on to life support, but ended soon after, when later in the column he called General Wesley Clark a, quote, lying fool. Side note, I believe that's the second time I've ever agreed with someone in Hollywood. Godspeed, Jon Voight's career. You will be missed. Again, Jon Voight's career, dead at 63. Unfortunately, the real story is not that a famous award-winning Hollywood actor is actually a conservative, although it does kind of feel good, doesn't it? The real story is that the rest of the Hollywood crowd can't stand it. The reaction to Voight's column was swift and merciless. Jeffrey Wells, who has been a Hollywood writer since the 1980s, I love his work. He publicly said what most of Hollywood is probably talking about, you know, while they snort cocaine and sleep with each other's wives. He said, quote, if I were a producer and I had to make a casting decision about hiring Voight or some other old actor who hadn't pissed me off, I might very well say to myself, Voight, let him eat cake. Who even says that? I mean, eat cake. You're a professional writer, man. Can you at least bring your snide remarks into the 20th or 21st century? Others in Hollywood, like the editor-in-chief of Variety, Peter Bart, didn't even bother with the implied McCarthyism. They just went straight to, personally insulting Voight's intellectual equipment, is the exact quote, or making fun of his relationship with his daughter. Hey, that's cool, huh? The insults are really just a distraction, though, from what this story is really all about, and that is political censorship. Here is the most important line from the entertainment writer Jeffrey Wells. Quote, you'd think that an arch-conservative working in an overwhelmingly liberal town would think about restraining himself for expediency's sake, if nothing else. Well, America, there it is, spelled out in black and white by a Hollywood progressive, open-minded insider. If you're not a liberal, why would you dare offer an opinion? Well, gee, I don't know, Jeff. Maybe it's because you and your progressive friends haven't ripped the freedom of speech clause completely out of the Bill of Rights yet. Maybe because in America, you shouldn't have to worry about losing your job every time you speak out politically, not on the job. And maybe because the only people who should decide whether an actor is successful or not are the ones paying for the actual movie tickets. Call me crazy. I know you can shut me down at any time. Andrew Breitbart is the co-author of Hollywood Interrupted, editor of the Drudge Report, and publisher of Breitbart.com, and one smart man, but you'd never speak out in Hollywood against Hollywood or against liberal ideas, would you, Andrew? That's crazy.
It's a newfound thing. I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the coming election cycle. I think that John McCain, for all of his faults as a candidate, provides Hollywood conservatives, even conservatives who are far more conservative than John McCain, a cover that they otherwise would never have had before. And I also think that the Hollywood left has pushed too far, acted like bullies, treated people like Jeffrey Wells and Peter Bart. People don't understand how important Bart is in this industry. He's the editor-in-chief of Variety. It's the Daily Bible. I've told celebrities who are conservative to beware when they come out as conservatives. Jon Voight just is a courageous man. He'll continue to be in movies. He's in Jerry Bruckheimer movies. Jerry Bruckheimer is an open Republican, so he'll survive. Most conservatives in Hollywood have couched their conservatism in I support the troops or going over to Iraq to support the troops. This is the most bold statement I've ever seen of a Hollywood conservative, but they do exist, and I believe that Jon Voight is a hero to many conservatives who now, realizing that he's standing tall, that there are people out there to defend him when the likes of Peter Bart and Jeffrey Lee Wells try to act like the school bullies and to try and take him out. He's still standing. He stands strong. He stands behind what he said. And Peter Bart looks shameful today for what he said this weekend.
I have to tell you, I like John Voight. I think he is a courageous man. However, he's got an Oscar sitting in front of his mom's door, where a lot of people don't, that are much lower on the food chain, that are probably thinking the same thing. This just, to me, goes to show that this whole bullcrap about, oh, speaking out of George Bush, why don't we just have the McCarthy hearings? That was a total red herring, when this is a Red Scare. This is, except in this case, it's the Reds doing it, trying to come in and silence any kind of dissent. It is shameful, especially coming from these open-minded people who have always been telling us that, oh, you've got to let people just dream and be free. I mean, this is an arts community. It's been bull crap from the beginning, hasn't it?
They've been their best argument is that there isn't a blacklist. It's technically not a blacklist. There's no Red Channel's newsletter outing communists or outing conservatives in this case, but it does exist. Sharon Lawrence, back in 2000, had a picture of herself, and she's a liberal Democrat, next to George Bush in People magazine. She said just the proximity of that photo next to George Bush before the Iraq War, before anything, before 9/11, caused her to have producers and directors say, "Are you a Republican? Because I would feel uncomfortable working with you." So yes, if you are below John Voight, do not come out of the closet. But I think that over the next year or so, John Voight and people who are like him are going to start stepping up and standing up against these goons. And I think that you're going to see a change in Hollywood, especially when America finds out that it's that bad out here.
Okay, Andrew, thanks a lot.